Hello, 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 and welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, Sagies, let's get started. This is a session of Tarot Spills the Tea on who Mary Cosby. Now, I viewed her as a runner, so you know I had to pull out the cards from our What Runners edition, which are the shadow deck. All right, which will tell us what part of their shadow personality characteristics made them run. All right, what exactly are they running from? This deck gets down to the itness, the bitness. Okay, I love it. Of course, I'm going to save that for the end, but we will go ahead and pick it apart with my regular spread in the beginning. All right, and real quick, I just wanted to make note. It just popped in my head real quick just to make note, just in case you guys didn't know that I tease and play around a little bit. Where it says raw footage, it's not actual footage. Okay, right here, what you're looking at, my title page, when I say that Mary closing the door on the Salt Lake City Season 2 reunion indefinitely, and I have right above that raw footage, it's a joke, you guys. Okay, so let's get started. And I'd like to ask you guys if you could remember to click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay? When you start to put a smile on your face or nod your head during this session, go ahead and click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. That'll help put me in the YouTube algorithm. Who is Mary Cosby? Well, let me tell you that first of all, I want to say I am not investigating Mary Cosby. This is not an investigation, okay? That is not what this is. What this is a Tarot Spills the Tea session on her with the question of why did she choose not to attend the season 2 reunion? That is what this is. It's not an investigation. Although y'all already know I do a little summary, okay? So who is Mary Cosby? She is a woman who, one of the housewives on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and she's the only African American on Salt Lake City franchise. She was in season 1, but originally was supposed to be just a friend of the show. All right, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, she got bumped up. And what you're looking at right now is something I swiped from her IG account. I just thought it was cute. A lot of these housewives have fans who make up mock cartoons of them, cartoon drawings, and I love them anytime I see them because I'm gonna tell you something. It always challenges me to figure out who is who. And so far, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real honest. This one has challenged me the most, I'd say, because it wasn't obvious to me. Now, I do believe I figured it out, but you guys can pause and see if you figure it out, and you can drop down in the comments If you believe you figured it out, okay? And tell me how long you took, though, just to be fair, because it took me a minute. But drop down in the comments and list who you believe they are from left to right, okay? All right, let's go. But first, coming right up right now is just a small clip of something that I saw on Mary's IG account, her Instagram. I don't know what kind of hidden message this was supposed to be. I don't know when it was actually recorded, but let's just look together.
Don't call me hypocritical. Don't
I
do
said
that.
it seems hypocritical.
I don't care what you see, because you seem very hypocritical too.
Open
But
up
Heather,
and
I
say,
I can be
hear what you're
nasty
saying.
right now. That's when you got two faces.
I'm trying to manage
Well, I need
this.
to know one of them.
Hello. Quick message from me, Indigo. Trigger warning, okay? Coming right up is going to be a short discussion and mention of cults, cult leaders, and following that, we will discuss very quickly racial tension and insensitivity. All right. So, what you are looking at, I've made it white and bright so that you can see where you need to begin to fast forward on. And then, when I am done with the possible triggers, you will see this sign again, except for it will say and I will make a short announcement like this one. All right. So, the question is why Mary was absent for season two's reunion? Well, welcome to Exhibit A, where we will examine what is a cult. Political, religious, and self improvement are the top categories for cults. Nowadays, the meaning of cult is fluid. So I've decided to provide examples of the characteristics that are most often associated with a cult leader. As I recite this list, ask yourself if you too think of a cult or its leader this way. So, a leader is a charming person. Members must conform to an extreme degree of control, including what the member can wear, eat, and who relations are with. Mind altering practices, including but not limited to sleep deprivation, chanting slash singing, and oftentimes drugs are used to permeate the boundaries that are in place instinctively to protect our mind's ability to think and act independently. New members are showered with love and praise to make them feel like they belong. Members are taught to view the cult as superior to non members because non members lack insight and understanding. Strongly encourage preparation for a catastrophic, unavoidable event that will end life as we know it. And lastly, they're expected to donate large amounts of time, energy, and money without consideration for the member's job, family, or their personal joy. Now we're going to dive in even deeper by talking about three examples. Okay, here we go. The first person we have as a leader of a cult is Marshall Applewhite. Marshall Applewhite convinced his following to believe that a UFO spaceship would take them to heaven, but first they had to commit suicide to board the spaceship. 39 people followed his instructions. Next, we have Jim Jones. After multiple challenges in the United States, Jim Jones convinced his followers to join him in the Guyana jungle, where they established Jonestown. And this became the place of over 900 murder suicides, including the passing of Jim Jones himself. Lastly, we have the infamous Charles Manson. A war of races was promoted by Charles Manson, which included encouraging his followers to commit a series of brutal murders, and they obliged. So at this point, I want to say, let's face it. These are the faces and names that come to mind when people talk about cult leaders and running a cult, having a cult, okay? So the question then becomes, would you want to be associated with a cult? And how would you feel and what would you do if it simply wasn't true? Again, let me say this. I didn't do an investigation on Mary Cosby. This is simply about why she didn't show up to the reunion. And I am showing up myself here and now in this session as an unbiased tarot reader. Okay? So understand that. Understand that. So I pose to you guys right here after I've explained all this cult stuff. If it's not true, would you entertain the thought? And then on the other hand, if it is true, would you entertain the questions? But I have another section, so let's go to that part of the summary. Now we are at the place where I am going to talk about Mary, 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 Mary. Mary, 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 Mary. Oh my goodness, Mary. Okay, Mary accused of making racially insensitive remarks by a cast member. Okay, Mary, quite contrary. Honey, where has your sheep gone? I think that's how that little rhyme go. Okay, so because she gave a compliment, what she says was intended as a compliment about Jenny's eyes. She said they were beautiful. And, coupled that with another word, Jenny decided that to label Mary as racially insensitive. So here we go. I'm getting ready to say some things that some of you may not like. However, I ask you to listen and just consider what I'm saying, because ultimately I am Indigo Sage, and what I do here on this channel is sage things out. All right? That's what I do. I sage it out, and that's what we are going to do with this. So here's the thing. What is bothering me about this racially insensitive allegation on Mary is, and please understand, I'm taking these characters out of it right now, for right now. So here is where I get to saging at. Jenny herself said that Mary should know better. She's old enough and she should know better. It was a reference to her age. Okay, I take issue with that. I do. Because I then have to ask myself, what does age have to do with being racially insensitive? Because to me, what it suggests is that at a certain age, you will know what every culture is insensitive about. So I guess when you turn 50, you magically are placed with information in your head to where you can walk this world and know what to say and what not to say in every culture. You can watch 90 Day Fiance and know that ain't the truth, because we don't have a certain age where we just know about every culture. Here's the other thing. Is there a certain class or course or school where you learn about the sensitivities of the world's cultures? Yes. Collectively, I'm going to say yes. However, they are not mandatory, so you cannot just assume that everyone walking this earth who reaches 40 or 30, they took all those classes. You cannot assume that the person was raised in an environment where they were taught about cultural sensitivities. You can't assume that, because then you'd be like in the same boat, meaning like that person who says something who they don't realize it's insensitive, they're assuming that that they don't mean any harm and that they're not trying to be offensive because of the way they were raised. You, being the sensitive one, are assuming that they did it on purpose and they meant it in a derogatory or harmful way because of the environment you were raised in. What would have been acceptable if they claimed that she should know better because she is the pastor of a mega church with thousands of members. So for years, so she has the experience of, you know, different cultures, and she should know better because of that. If they went down that road, yes, I understand where you're coming from when you say that. Secondly, they could have said she should know better because Andy himself has said before that the housewives, when they first come on or sign on, they have to take sensitivity training. So if someone said she should know better because she took sensitivity training, supposedly and allegedly, according to Andy already, I can understand that. Show me one person who says that they, or believes, let me put it like that, who believes that they are culturally trained, so much so with the ultimate training that they can walk this entire world and be aware of every culture's possible sensitivities to where it's offensive. I'll get off my soapbox, but I had to sage that out. All right. So, what I'm getting ready to show you guys right now is examples of racially insensitivity, how it looks for real, okay? And this comes to us by the cast member, Jenny Wynn, who accused Mary of being old enough to be racially sensitive. You know, she should know better. So, let's check that out. And first of all, these four were during Black Lives Matter movement, okay? During the BLM movement. If you follow the officer's orders, you won't get shot. The second one is an image of police officers, and it looks like it looks like the scene for Floyd as his life was taken. And I'm sorry, this makes me so upset. Oh boy. Anyway, underneath that image is the caption, which, I'm not even getting ready to read what this says. I'm just going to say that there's implication that he did not die at the hands of the cops. And these were in 2020, okay? But all during Black Lives Matter movement, when we were actively marching and wanting justice for, mainly for Black lives, Black people, African Americans. All right, her next one says hundreds of blacks shot and, oh, you know what? I'm gonna read it exactly how it said. Hundreds of blacks shot and many killed, including children, by other blacks every week. Over 1,000 officers violently injured, some permanently, by rioters. Anarchists rioting in major cities every night, which has caused billions of dollars of destruction to private and public property. And you still think police officers are the problem. You are an idiot. The way this is written, I believe she wrote it, and I strongly believe she is the idiot. There's one more. This one says, I'm sick of people saying cops need more training. You had 18 years to teach your kid it's wrong to loot, steal, set buildings ablaze, block traffic, laser people's eyes, overturn cars, destroy buildings, and attack citizens. Who failed who? So, again, those were perfect examples of racial insensitivity. The trigger warning is over. So now we are going to go into the reunion. All right, so we are about to get into the nitty gritty of it all, the nitty gritty of this session, the reason why we are here, which is what? Because Miss Mary Cosby chose to not show up for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake to the what city? Reunion for season 2. All right. So, of course, all of the blogs and online media and everything that had a pulse went ahead and reported on this. But where I'm going to take you guys right now and real quick is back to season 1. We're going to go back to season 1 first with an interview that she did with Entertainment Tonight online. All right. Let's go there. Come with me. Come with me real quick, okay? So Mary did an interview with ET, and in that interview, she said, she was asked how did she feel about not being in the show very much. And she said that she was happy about it. Okay? So what you guys are looking at, you should already know. My stages already know. It's transcripts, and then the top to the right is actually from the written article online, which is what I stumbled across first, not realizing that it was on YouTube. So you get a little combo of both, all right? So we can all be on the same page and see what we see. What we see is Mary talking about how happy she was that she was not obligated to go on these trips. She said especially the Vegas trip. She was very happy to not go on that trip. I understand why. Now that I had went back and watched them, I understand why. Okay? Then the very last panel right here, transcript panel on the lower right, is her admitting that she had not watched one episode. What? What, Mary? What, Mary? What, Mary? What, girl? So apparently she was on Watch What Happens Live during that season, and it was to the, probably right before the reunion 1 or whatever, because that's the only time that I know of that they are sent all of the episodes to watch right before they tape the reunion. So Andy, of course, asked her, the questions were surrounding the episodes, and Mary admitted that she had not watched not one yet. And I can only imagine that Andy was quite pissed. All right. I didn't see that Watch What Happens live episode, so I don't know what his facial expression was given, but he did tell her they have been delivered to you and you need to watch them. So I'm saying all of this so that you guys can understand her relation with the show. She was happy that she wasn't obligated to join the group trips. She was very happy that she wasn't there. At one point, she says she did not have FOMO, which is FOMO is fear of missing out. She said she didn't have it. She was very happy. She felt good. All right. I was like, oh, okay, that's weird to be a part of a cast, a part of a show, and feel good when you're not in it. That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird, but okay, Mary. And then to top it off, she didn't even watch an episode, even when she was supposed to. Girl, they've been given to you. What you think you're supposed to do with them? You about to go to the reunion. Girl, what you think you're supposed to do with them? Okay, girl. Okay, girl. And then on top of all of that, this woman speaks about herself in third person. That's quite weird to me. Here we are at a fan-sided article online, okay, which supports what I've already said before, which was, even though I had not watched at the time that I said this statement, I had not watched not one episode of the Salt Lake City franchise, okay? But what stuck with me, what I duly noted, was that they only had one black woman, and it was reported that she wasn't even a part of the cast. She was just a friend of the show. So I was like, I don't know. I'm not gonna break my neck trying to watch it because there's enough reality television that I'm already watching. So fast forward to season 2. Now it's almost hard to even find anyone talking about how Mary wasn't even a part of the cast, which makes sense because that's the reason why she didn't have to go on those trips. Okay? This article says that most of the time you are contractually obligated to show up to filmed group events if you are a full-time cast member. All right? So that's the only way that it even makes sense. Plus we had already heard that. Well, I did. Maybe not everyone, but I did. So she wasn't obligated to go on those trips because she was just a friend of the show. She was happy with being a friend of the show. She was happy not to go to Vegas. She wasn't even interested enough to watch the episodes of the show. And she fell asleep at the season 1 reunion. What? Yes. This lady fell asleep. Now, I thought it was fake when I saw it, but I don't know. You be the judge. And moving right along. But before we do, may I ask of you to ring my bell? All right, the importance of ringing the bell is so that you are notified the next time hot tea is dropped from my tarot, which spills the tea. You've got to ring the bell to be notified. Okay, so welcome to the tarot portion for Mary Cosby. And the question that I asked was, why did she decide to abandon the season 2 reunion of Real Housewives of Salt Lake to the city? Why did she decide to not go? Why did she reject the invitation? Abandon the alleged contract? Why did she do that? What was in her mind when she made that decision? So, there are 5 positions and a bonus. And today there's 2 bonuses. Although one is because she is in the runners category, so that's not really a bonus, that comes with runners. Okay. So, first, right out of the gate, we have the past position. The past position is very important because this is what is in the person's mind as they make the decision. This is the very thing that they are drawing on, the very emotion, action, or issue that comes to mind as they are trying to make that decision. The past position for Mary is represented by the 8 of coins. The coin is what? The money, honey. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you guys that this is one of my favorite decks, although I use it very rarely. This is oh my gosh, I should know how old it is, but it's like 100-year-old French deck that when it actually first came about, it was wooden carvings. Okay, so anyway, one of my favorite decks, and it is called La de Martial. Anyway, mine is the CBD version. There is a difference. I believe mine is more original. I'm not for sure, but I cherish it nonetheless. Okay, so 8 of Pentacles represents what went into her decision, what she considered from the past. The perfection of pentacles is manifested by abundance and prosperity. This card evokes balance and wealth. All needs are satisfied. That's a pretty good card to be having in your past as you make a decision. But at the same time, we need to understand that this helped her make a decision. This is what she views as what her past was, the perfection of pentacles, all right? Which, when the perfection of pentacles present itself in reality, what it looks like is abundance and prosperity. So she's looking back on the times where she had abundance and prosperity. That's what this card means. Okay? So that is what is affecting her decision on whether or not to join the ladies at the reunion. The present is represented by the, well, it's French, y'all. It's French, nah. The valet de deniers. Anyway, what that is the page of pentacles. Okay, pentacles, pentacles, and pentacles. Plentiful pentacles. That's the present, and it's the coint. The coint is what? The money, honey. Her focus is on financial stability, clearly, as we see the page staring at the coin he raises in the imagery. The buried coin is an obstacle that prevents him from developing. The coin being raised is his wish. He asks himself, is this investment worthy of possible problem? Am I playing dangerously with my safety or life? Okay, so let's pick this apart. Coins again. The money, honey. So that is on her mind, and it's no secret because that was in her past and it's in her present. Okay, coins, the money. One is buried. That one represents an obstacle that she sees. And remember, this is in the present, which means this is directly what she was thinking about when she made the decision not to go. Point blank and period. Okay, so she was thinking about the obstacles and she buried them. All right. Which that obstacle prevents her goal from being manifested. So she sees that and she's staring at the coin in her hand, asking the question, is this investment worthy of the possible problems? So she sees the show as an investment, okay, as a lot of the reality stars do. They go on there to promote whatever it is they need to promote, all right, or if they ain't got nothing to promote, a lot of times it's an investment into their own self-esteem, okay. Anyway, for her, it may or may not have been both. But anyway, moving right along, back to where I was at. So she's asking, is it worthy? And then she asks, is she playing dangerously with her safety or life? And those are good questions. Those are good questions because try and try as they might, they have tried in our sight to create her as a bad person. I don't know her personally, so I don't know if she's bad or not. I haven't invested a whole lot of time and energy into researching her, as I said at the top of the session. So I'm not going to make a solid, decision on what I think, whether she's a bad or a good person. She brought the wacky, she brought the crazy. But she wasn't the only one who was crazy on the show. All I know is how they are trying to paint her. I see that taken off a little bit more than what I actually saw. Okay, it's not balanced. It's one thing to be balanced. It's one thing to say this person is crazy, this person is doing this person is doing that, and you see it, okay? Because whatever is claimed, we all know that Bravo likes to play that beautiful beam footage and back it up. And in this case, we didn't see that so much. So it's not balanced. And I can see how she is in the present trying to figure out which way to go and asking these very important questions. Is it worthy of the possible problems? Because she's obviously seen how it was betrayed, and she probably feels the way that I do. It wasn't balanced. And let me give you guys a good example of the balance that I'm talking about. Erica Girardi from Beverly Hills franchise. Bravo busted out with showing all of her luxury items. I think in like the first episode of that season, they played "It's So Rich" or what? It's expensive to be me. Honey, I got the lyrics wrong because I don't listen to that song. That ain't my type of music. But I know she say it's expensive to be me. They play that in the background a lot and showed her luxury items and kind of taunted her every time she said that she had to dial back, and she didn't have any money. They showed, I mean, the girl has, okay, anyway, big pool in her backyard. Like, I mean, she still has more money than most. Bravo was sure to show that. And they even had the prices on the bottom, okay? That was balanced with what was alleged. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, and I'm not saying she's guilty or innocent. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about balanced footage, balanced representation. Now, with Mary, that didn't happen. And that, I'm not saying I like Mary or don't like Mary. I am non biased and I'm just stating the facts as I see them because this is my opinion and my commentary. It wasn't balanced. People just threw out allegations, and I didn't see anything to back it up. Those serious allegations that revolved her profession, I didn't see anything to back it up. So, again, she's asking herself because she went in, she sees this as an investment. You see that, right? Is this investment? She sees this as an investment, which a lot of them do. Is this investment worthy of possible problems? Let's keep going. Best. Here we are at the best. The best that she saw from deciding not to attend the reunion, it is represented by the moon. La lune. The moon has an echo of dark fears, nightmares, and all anxiety related to the unknown. Sometimes uncontrollable challenges in our lives, okay? The unknown as it relates to uncontrollable challenges. The moon also represents mystery. Mary prefers her responses this season remain a mystery, point blank and period. Much like the quote, better to remain silent and be thought a fool than to speak out and remove all doubt. For the worst, what represents what Mary saw as the worst possible outcome is represented by the magician. Okay. Now, the magician, I love the magician. I love the magician card when it shows up, no matter what position it is in when it shows up. I love it, okay? Because what it represents is all things are possible, creating abundance as all tools made available work towards the universe and spiritual life. Okay? If you ever needed to get your life, the magician card is a great symbol of that. All right. This is when the universe, your higher power, whatever you spiritually are attuned to, when this card shows up, it lets you know we hear you. We provide you with the tools that you need to what? Get your entire life and manifest whatever it is that you've asked them about. Them being your higher power. Now, I like this card in whatever position, whatever placement it lands in when it's in the upright. However, it was in the what reverse, which means reverse everything I just said. That would be Mary's worst. okay? Because apparently, she feels like she's been able to use all tools made available to her to manifest. See what I'm saying? So the worst would be if that was taken away, because this was in the reverse, and I believe this was the only reversal. All right? Because overall, Mary has a positive outlook, okay? She's moving and making choices and doing things, and she's analytical, and I believe she's actually a smart woman. I really do. I'm not gonna do that. Well, let me tell y'all what I was just oohing about. I was getting ready to say she reminds me of Simon Gubadia. Anyway, on that note, moving along, here we are at what's to come, which is represented by the Ace of Wands. There is a large amount of energy that lays dormant. This refers to energy that's gathered in case we need to fight, normally used to overcome huge challenges. This card is here as Mary prepares for the backlash for her reunion rejection. So, there's a large amount of energy that lays dormant within her. All right. I wonder how long is that going to lay dormant, because whatever we've seen from her up until now, it ain't talking about that. It ain't talking about that. It ain't talking about that. I think she is like a firecracker ready to explode. Like, like gunpowder or whatever is like stuffed in it, And then that's actually the extent of my knowledge on how to make firecrackers, or fireworks or whatever. But I kind of don't believe a match has been lit yet. It's laying dormant, which means it's gonna come. It's honey, that powder, that I was gonna say that fireworks powder, which I heard it was like gunpowder or whatever, but whatever it is that catches on fire to make it explode, it hasn't been lit yet. It's laying dormant. It is what's to come. Energy influence, you guys. The energy influence, let me break it down for those of you who may be new. Let me break this down real quick. So here is the bonus card that I always include, which is the energy influence. The reason why that's so important to me to include with my sessions and readings as a tarot reader is because it's like the roots of the tree. Okay, the tree cannot grow without the roots, so we always have to examine the roots, see if they're healthy. How are they looking? Are they there? Are they strong? Are they weak? What okay? Because from the roots comes the tree, the trunk, the branches, the fruit, the flowers, the leaves. Everything comes from the roots. If there's no roots of a tree, there's no tree. Okay? So we always have to look at the roots. The roots are represented by the energy influence. Her energy influence card is the Five of Wands. Now, I totally love this deck. Oh, I love this deck because it's so mysterious. However, as mysterious as it is, fives, the number, I tell you guys this all the time, it represents conflict. Five represents conflict. Conflict. Now, conflict doesn't mean necessarily that you are fighting and battling with someone. It could mean conflict within yourself, conflict within your own thoughts, which we saw earlier. She did have a dilemma, trying to ask herself if it would benefit her and how, or would it endanger her safety and all of that. So there is conflict within her. We saw that earlier. So here's what the root is saying. She's in a time of conflict, tension, and opposition, which she feels has an impact on her ability to manifest the outcome she desires. Rather than succeed in having a reunion with them, Mary anticipates a result of constant challenge in an unwelcoming environment, one where everyone tries to express their point of view while no one listens. Mary's mind has settled on the belief that there are only conflicts and the discussions that take place have little or no value. As a result, she's decided her presence won't make a difference. So Mary said, okay, allegedly into herself, I'll be absent, just like the resolutions they claim to want and never seem to accomplish. Get all the way into it. Get all the way into it. Get all the way into it. Lean into it and then come out and realize that with a lot of the reunions, isn't that how it goes? Pretty much. They always say that there's going to be a resolution, bloop, bloop, bloop. They claim to have a resolution, but it's never truly accomplished because 3 months later or 4 months later, when the season come back, they back at it. That Mary doesn't seem to have time for that. Time. Remember, I said that because we are getting ready to discuss what? The shadow. Okay. Even though I don't really truly feel like she's 100% a runner as my previous runner editions, okay? However, this card, the card that I will always pick for the runners, honey, when I saw it, I was like, this is exactly why you are not coming up in my, my meditation on this reading. This is exactly why you didn't come up as a runner. So let me stop talking about it and let me get to it. Okay, you guys. Sages, let's sage this out. Shadow self. This card, let me tell you something. First of all, it jumped, baby. It jumped. Okay. Right as I was saying the words, I was shuffling the cards. Ooh, honey, my heart palpitating. I was shuffling the cards and I was channeling spirit and I was like, focusing, and I was like, let me know. Let me know. Show me what part of her self, her shadow self, directly relates to the reason she did not show up. I think it was at the reason when it popped out. Because I remember not even being able to finish what I was saying. But I mean, I already had it in my mind, and the way it works is, spirit knows what's in your mind, your heart, your body, your soul. So they already know, but I speak it in shuffle. I just get it. I get it. Anyway, so it popped out. And I'm like, okay, let me look. Let me see. And baby, it was masquerade. Ooh, I said masquerade. Okay, so let me tell you what they told me to tell y'all. Mary came into this show as a transient, fleeting and brief, knowing this was temporary. She's not the master of love nor manipulation. She's the master of the ephemeral as it pertains to Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay? The masquerade is a dance on a road that goes in circles with ebbs and flows. The dance always ends at the sight of light. When that time comes, let it go. Baby, baby. I want to holler right now. I want to just scream like, no, you didn't. Okay, but yes, she did. This is exactly why I wasn't getting that strong runner's emotion from her because this was planned already. Her dance, ooh, honey, I was going to say her walk with Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, but it wasn't a walk, it was a dance, okay, that went in circles and had ebbs and flows, baby. It was a masquerade, all right? It wasn't love, it wasn't manipulation. It was fleeting and brief. It was meant to be temporary, always. So that's why it's not running. If you go in and you have a designated amount of time to be with something, and then you leave when it's time for when it's time for you to leave, you're not running away. That's just like when you're in school and the bell rings and you're dismissed. The bell rung and you're dismissed. You ain't running away from school. The bell rung. So in this case, the bell is the light. It says the dance always ends at the sight of light. That's the bell. So it's like, okay, well, bye. I'm out. That's the bell. I'm out. So she wasn't running. That's the reason why I didn't get that strong running feeling. And I'm explaining it, and maybe at this point, maybe more for myself, because I have runner's addition, which if I haven't made a players not players, Lord, playlist for it already, then I will make a playlist for it. However, with those people, they ran away from the shows, ran away from reunions, and it was strong in spirit. I could feel them. They're running away. This one, Spirit told me to still use the deck that I always use, which represents their shadow self, when I ask what is the reason they ran. Okay? They told me to still use it, but it was hard for me to like pick up the why did they run emotion. And so seeing this, studying this, researching this, and learning this shadow self of hers, she didn't run. It was just her time was up. The bell rang. Class is dismissed. So it's not running. Anyway, I know I said that a couple of times. Forgive me, y'all. I learn sometimes just like you guys learn. And it's very cool and interesting, and I love all things tarot. Okay? So it says when that time comes, when that light comes, let it go. And I feel like she's letting it go. Now, in some instances, you can actually look at this as running, because some may feel like she's running from the quote unquote and allegedly the truth. But the way that I see it, this is a businesswoman, and what she's walking away from is no doubt accusations. And from what I see, Indigo is unfairness of, like, they just showed a bunch of accusations. Like, that's what we got when it came to Mary. And I know that a lot of people with reality, because I review some reality and everything shows, and I know that they can only work with what you give them. I understand that. However, being a longtime Bravo fan, they do treat people's editing differently. And that's what I'm going to say. I don't feel like she got a fair edit. I don't. Now, I don't know her personally. I'm not trying to be her friend, okay? I'm just stepping back and looking at it, and I don't see a fair edit. Period. Period. And I mentioned in the previous reading with Jenny Wynn that Jenny did target Mary. I specifically said it is not our imagination. She did target Mary. And I said, here's what her cards say. And here's what the reason why I think she may have targeted her. But no doubt she targeted her. That was no doubt. So I will attach that reading in case you guys want to see that, because guess what? I recently heard, okay, and saw an article that exposed that Jenny Wynn may be a tad bit what? Racist. So, hey, it is what it is. What I knew for sure was that she targeted Mary. All right. The card shows she targeted Mary. She did. She targeted Mary. She targeted Mary. I knew she did. And I explained some of the reasons I felt like she targeted Mary. And the skin color was one of them. It was one of them. Now, did I have any solid proof? No. But me being in touch with spirit, oftentimes I can see things coming before they come. So, hey. So now it's out that she has made those remarks that support what spirit told me was a part of the reason she targeted Mary? Hey, it is what it is. All right. So I am going to ask that if you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, may you be blessed in all ways that you desire in a healthy manifestation. Okay? Get all the way into it. And will you please click like and subscribe and ring the bell for my next reading? I'm bouncing some around, okay? But trust me, it'll be juicy because I think I need to go. I want to go beyond the housewives at this point. I am going to do readings that you guys don't know that you want or that you need just yet, okay? Also, remember, oh my gosh, I'm saying this at the very end, but I am going to take a week off. I need to take a whole week off. And I told you guys in the Jenny reading, which was right before this one, that I was going to take a week off after I did the Mary one. So this is the Mary reading, and I'm going to take a week off. Thank you guys so much. I truly appreciate all of your support. It means so much to me. And I'd love to meet you down in the comments, okay? All right? Please be blessed and try to stay in good health. Wash your hands. Be conscious of your bacterial surroundings, okay? All right. And remember, I love you guys. Okay. I send love and health to each person who's listening. All right. Bye. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to share.